Hey there, and welcome to Crazy Pepper, the channel where drama sizzles and revenge burns hotter than ever. If you love jaw dropping twists, bold characters, and stories that keep you guessing till the end, you're in the right place. Subscribe and dive into gripping tales of betrayal, karma, and ultimate payback. Get ready for unforgettable moments and satisfying endings, only on Crazy Pepper. Hit that bell and let the drama begin. Christmas Eve in Edgewood. And here I am sitting on a frozen bench outside my own house, watching my breath turn to ice crystals while my wife Sarah throws my suitcase onto the snow-covered driveway. The irony isn't lost on me. The guy who built half this town's decks and renovated their kitchens is now homeless on the night when families are supposed to come together. "Don't come crawling back, Danny," Sarah calls from the doorway, her voice sharp enough to cut through the December wind. She's wearing that black cocktail dress I bought her for our anniversary last year. The one she claimed was too fancy for our marriage. Apparently, it's just right for her new life without me. Her sister Jessica appears beside her, arms crossed, wearing that smug expression I've grown to hate over the past 6 months. "Maybe now you'll learn what happens when you don't appreciate what you have," she sneers. Sarah deserves so much better than a contractor who can't even afford to take her somewhere nice. I stand up slowly, brushing snow off my jeans. "You're right, Jess. She deserves someone who can afford to take her to the Marriott downtown. Someone like that artist friend of hers, Marcus. What's his last name again? Oh, right, you probably don't know it either." Sarah's face goes pale for just a second before the anger kicks in. "Get out of here, Danny. Now." "Already gone, sweetheart." I grab my suitcase and start walking down Maple Street, past the houses I've worked on, past the neighbors who wave at me during the summer but are conveniently absent now. The snow crunches under my boots, and I can feel Sarah and Jessica watching from the doorway until I turn the corner. That's when I see her. A woman, maybe 35, sitting barefoot in the snow beside a broken-down Honda Civic. Her lips are purple, her feet are blue, and she's shivering so violently I can hear her teeth chattering from 20 feet away. She's wearing a thin hospital gown under a man's oversized coat, and her dark hair is matted with snow. Most people would keep walking. Most people would assume she's drunk or high or both. But I've spent enough time being dismissed and overlooked to recognize someone who's been thrown away. I stop in front of her. "You're going to lose those toes if you don't get warm." She looks up at me with eyes that are way too clear for someone in her condition. "You're the contractor, Danny Walsh." "Yeah, and you're freezing to passing." Without thinking about it, I sit down and start unlacing my work boots. They're good leather, waterproof, warm. I've had them for 3 years, and they've never let me down. "What are you doing?" she asks. "Giving you my boots." I pull off my thick wool socks, too. "These will help." She stares at me like I've lost my mind. "You don't even know me. I know you're human. I know it's Christmas Eve, and I know what it's like to be thrown out in the cold." I help her get the boots and socks on. Her feet are like ice, but she sighs with relief as soon as the warmth hits her skin. I stand up in my bare feet, feeling the snow burn through my skin. "Thank you," she whispers. Then she looks directly into my eyes and says something that makes my blood freeze colder than my feet. "Remember this, Danny Walsh. The cold reveals all, and when it does, you call me." She presses a business card into my hand. It's expensive cardstock, embossed, with just a phone number and a single initial, V. Before I can ask what she means, the sound of engines fills the air. 19 black BMW sedans turn onto Maple Street in perfect formation, moving slow and deliberate like a funeral procession. They pull up alongside us, engines idling, windows tinted so dark I can't see inside. The woman stands up, suddenly looking stronger, more confident. "Remember, Danny, when you're ready to stop being the sufferer, call me." She walks to the lead BMW. The door opens. She gets in, and all 19 cars drive away in the same perfect formation, leaving me standing barefoot in the snow with more questions than answers. I look down at the business card. Just a phone number and that single letter. But somehow, I know this isn't the last time I'll see her. I walk the remaining 6 blocks to the Sleepy Inn Motel in my bare feet, checking in with frostbitten toes and a story I'll never be able to explain to anyone. The desk clerk, a kid with acne and dead eyes, doesn't even blink when I tell him I need a room for the week. "Credit card?" he asks. I hand over my Visa, praying Sarah hasn't canceled it yet. It goes through. Small miracle. Room 237 smells like cigarettes and broken dreams. The carpet is brown with stains I don't want to identify, and the heater makes a sound like a dying animal. But it's warm, it's private, and it's mine. I sit on the edge of the bed and finally let myself think about what just happened. Not the mysterious woman or the BMWs, that's too weird to process right now. I'm thinking about Sarah's face when I mentioned Marcus. That split second of panic before the anger kicked in. 6 months ago, Sarah started working late. A lot. She joined a book club that met on weekends. She started going to yoga classes that somehow lasted 4 hours. She bought new lingerie that I never saw her wear. She started taking phone calls in the bathroom with the door locked. When I asked about it, she'd get defensive. "You don't trust me?" she'd say. "After 8 years of marriage, you think I'm lying to you?" The thing is, I did trust her. Right up until 3 weeks ago, when I was fixing the Henderson's kitchen sink and overheard Mrs. Henderson talking to her friend about seeing Sarah at the Marriott downtown, having lunch with that handsome artist from the gallery district. That's when I started paying attention, really paying attention. Sarah's phone, which used to sit on the kitchen counter, now went everywhere with her. She started showering as soon as she got home from work. She bought a new perfume, something expensive and musky that she'd never worn before. She started doing her hair differently, wearing makeup on weekdays, buying clothes that were way too nice for a small-town law office. And then there was Jessica's sudden involvement in our marriage. Sarah's sister had never liked me. I wasn't educated enough, didn't make enough money, wasn't sophisticated enough for her precious little sister. But lately she'd been coming around more often, always with suggestions about what Sarah deserved and how she should explore her options. Tonight, when Sarah threw me out, Jessica was ready with a speech, like they'd rehearsed it. I pull out my phone and scroll through my contacts until I find Trevor Morrison. Trevor's been my best friend since high school, and he's one of the few people in this town who doesn't care about social status or who's sleeping with whom. He owns Morrison's gym downtown, and he's the kind of guy who will answer his phone at midnight on Christmas Eve. "Danny, what's wrong?" Sarah threw me out. "Jesus, you okay? Where are you?" "Sleepy Inn, room 237. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Trevor shows up with a bottle of whiskey, a bag of ice for my feet, and the kind of loyal friendship that makes you believe in humanity again. He's a big guy, 6'4", and built like a linebacker, but he's got the gentlest hands when he's helping me treat my frostbite. "So what happened?" he asks, pouring whiskey into 2 plastic cups from the bathroom. I tell him everything. The mysterious woman, the BMWs, Sarah's reaction when I mentioned Marcus. Trevor listens without interrupting, occasionally nodding or shaking his head. 19 BMWs, he says when I finish. "That's some serious money, Danny. That's not random." "I know, but I can't think about that right now. I need to figure out what Sarah's been doing." Trevor pulls out his phone. "Marcus who?" "I don't know his last name. Some artist from the gallery district." Trevor's fingers fly over his screen. "Marcus Blackwood. Owns Blackwood Studio on Pine Street. Specializes in contemporary mixed media installations." Whatever the hell that means. He shows me the phone. Marcus Blackwood is exactly what I expected. Tall, lean, carefully disheveled dark hair, wearing a black turtleneck and looking at the camera like he's solving the world's problems. His bio says he's 32, originally from Boston, and has shown his work in galleries across New England. "Pretentious a hole," Trevor mutters. "Yeah, but he's a pretentious a-hole with money. Look at that studio." The photos show a converted warehouse space with exposed brick walls, dramatic lighting, and art that looks like someone threw paint at a canvas and called it profound. It's exactly the kind of place that would impress someone like Sarah, who's always felt trapped in a small town and hungry for something more sophisticated. "So what are you going to do?" Trevor asks. I look at the business card the mysterious woman gave me, then at the photos of Marcus Blackwood's studio, then at my wedding ring, which I haven't taken off despite everything that's happened tonight. I'm going to find out exactly what my wife has been up to, and then I'm going to decide what to do about it. Trevor raises his plastic cup. "To the truth, to the truth." We drink and I start planning. The next morning, Christmas Day, I wake up in the Sleepy Inn with a hangover and a plan. Trevor's gone, but he left a note. "Boxing gym opens at 6 a.m. every day. You need somewhere to go, come by. Also, your feet look like hell. Get real shoes." He's right about the feet. They're swollen and purple, and walking to the bathroom feels like stepping on broken glass. But I've got bigger problems than frostbite. I need evidence. Not for a divorce lawyer. I'm not ready to think about that yet. I need evidence for myself. I need to know exactly what Sarah's been doing, who she's been doing it with, and how long it's been going on. I need to know if my marriage is wounded or dead. The first stop is Walmart, where I buy cheap sneakers, thick socks, and a prepaid phone. The sneakers feel like walking on clouds compared to bare feet, and the prepaid phone gives me options Sarah doesn't know about. Then I drive to the Blue Lantern, the only bar in Edgewood that's open on Christmas Day. It's the kind of place where the coffee is strong, the gossip is reliable, and the owner, Mo Patterson, knows everything that happens in this town. Mo's been running the Blue Lantern for 23 years. She's 62, tough as nails, and has the kind of radar for BS that comes from dealing with drunk people for 2 decades. When I walk in, she takes one look at my face and pours coffee without being asked. "Heard Sarah threw you out," she says, sliding the cup across the bar. News travels fast. Honey, in a town this size, news travels at the speed of light, especially when it involves the lawyer's wife and the contractor everyone likes. I sip the coffee. It's strong enough to wake the dead. "What else have you heard?" Mo leans against the bar, studying my face. "You sure you want to know?" "I'm sure. Sarah's been coming in here with a guy, not recently, about 2 months ago, 3 times in 1 week. Tall, dark hair, fancy clothes. They'd sit in the back booth, heads together, talking real quiet. She'd touch his hand a lot." My stomach drops, but I keep my voice steady. "What did they talk about?" Couldn't hear much, but I caught pieces. Something about leaving town, starting over, how she deserved better than what she had. The guy kept talking about showing her the world, taking her to real cities with real culture. "Marcus Blackwood?" Mo nods. "That's the name he gave when he paid. Credit card. But here's the thing, Danny, I don't think he's the only one." "What do you mean?" "There was another guy, older, better dressed. Came in with Sarah about a month ago. They were arguing about something. I heard her say she couldn't keep doing this. It was getting too complicated. He said she didn't have a choice, that she was in too deep." Mo refills my coffee cup. "And then there's the money thing." "What money thing?" "Sarah's been flashing cash lately. New purse, expensive jewelry, picking up tabs for her friends. That law office she works at pays decent, but not that decent. And you've been slow this winter, right? Construction always is." She's right. December and January are always lean months for contractors in New England. I've got enough saved to cover the mortgage and bills, but there's no extra money for designer purses and expensive jewelry. "Mo, I need a favor. Name it. If Sarah comes in here again, call me, day or night. I need to know who she's with and what they're talking about." Mo reaches under the bar and pulls out a notebook. "Already started keeping track. Call it professional curiosity." She shows me 3 pages of notes written in her careful handwriting. Dates, times, descriptions of Sarah's companions, snippets of conversation. It's like a surveillance report. "Why?" I ask. "Because I've seen this before, honey. Wife gets restless, starts running around, makes bad choices. Usually ends with someone getting hurt. I like you, Danny. You've never caused trouble in here, you tip well, and you treat people with respect. I don't want to see you get destroyed by someone else's selfishness." I study Mo's notes. The pattern is clear. Sarah's been meeting with at least 3 different men over the past 2 months. Marcus Blackwood, the artist. Someone named David Chen, who Mo describes as older, expensive suit, talks like a lawyer. And a third man she calls baseball cap guy, because he always wore a Red Sox cap and paid cash. "David Chen," I say. "That name sounds familiar." "Should. He's a partner at Morrison, Chen & Associates, big law firm out of Hartford. They handle corporate stuff, mergers, real estate deals, high-dollar clients. Morrison, Chen & Associates. I know that name because Sarah mentioned it once, said they'd tried to recruit her, but she wasn't interested in big city law. Apparently, she changed her mind." "Mo, can I ask you something else?" "Shoot." "Last night, when Sarah threw me out, there was this woman, sitting in the snow, barefoot, freezing. I gave her my boots, and then 19 black BMWs showed up and took her away. You ever see anything like that around here?" Mo's expression changes. She glances around the bar, even though we're the only ones here, and lowers her voice. 19 BMWs? Exactly 19, I counted. "Danny, that's the Volkov family. Russian outfit out of Boston. They've got interests in construction, real estate, import, export. Legal stuff, mostly. But they don't mess around." If you met one of them, it wasn't an accident. Volkov? Victoria Volkov. Goes by V. She's the old man's daughter, handles the family's legitimate businesses. Smart as hell, ruthless as winter, and she doesn't do favors for strangers. If she gave you her card, it's because she wants something. I pull out the business card. Just a phone number and the letter V. What could she want with me? Mo shrugs. Maybe nothing, maybe everything, but Danny, listen to me. People like the Volkovs don't get involved in small-town drama unless there's money involved. Big money. I finish my coffee and leave Mo a $20 tip. Call me if Sarah shows up. Will do. And Danny, be careful. Whatever's going on here, it's bigger than just your wife cheating. I drive home to what used to be my home and park across the street. Sarah's car is in the driveway, along with Jessica's silver Lexus. The Christmas lights I hung in November are still twinkling, and through the living room window I can see the tree we decorated together 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, when I still thought my marriage was solid. I sit in my truck for 2 hours watching. At 3:47 p.m., a black Mercedes pulls into the driveway. David Chen gets out carrying a briefcase and a bottle of wine. He's exactly what Mo described. 50s, expensive suit. The kind of confidence that comes with money and power. Sarah answers the door before he knocks. She's wearing a red dress I've never seen before, and she hugs him like they're old friends. Jessica appears behind her, and the three of them disappear into the house. I wait another hour. When Chen leaves, he's not carrying the briefcase. That night, I break into my own house. Not really breaking in, I still have my key, and technically my name is still on the deed. But Sarah changed the locks, so I have to use the spare key hidden under the fake rock by the back door. The same hiding place I've used for 8 years, the one Sarah apparently forgot about. The house is dark and quiet. Sarah's car is gone, probably at Jessica's place for their traditional post-Christmas sister bonding. I've got maybe 2 hours before she comes home. I start with the obvious places. Sarah's laptop, her desk, the bedroom. The laptop is password protected, but Sarah's never been creative with passwords. I try our anniversary date, her birthday, her maiden name. Nothing. Then I try Marcus 23, and the screen unlocks. Jesus, Sarah. Really? Her browser history tells the story Mo's notes only hinted at. Hotel websites, travel sites featuring European destinations, real estate listings in Boston and Hartford, and dozens of visits to Marcus Blackwood's website, his social media profiles, articles about his art shows. But it's the email that breaks my heart. The most recent thread is between Sarah and Marcus, dated yesterday. Marcus: are you sure about this? Once we do it, there's no going back. Sarah: I'm sure. I can't keep living this lie. Danny's a good man, but he's not enough for me. He never was. Marcus: what about the money situation? David said there might be complications. Dumta: David's handling it. The paperwork will be ready next week. Danny won't know what hit him. Marcus: and your sister's okay with everything? Sarah: Jessica's been pushing me to do this for months. She thinks I've wasted enough time already. Marcus: I love you, Sarah. We're going to have an amazing life together. Sarah: I love you too. Just a few more days and we'll be free. I read the thread 3 times, each pass making me feel sicker. It's not just an affair. It's a plan. They're not just sleeping together. They're planning to destroy my life and take everything I've worked for. I keep digging through the emails. There are threads with David Chen about asset protection and expedited proceedings. There are messages with Jessica about timing and making sure Danny doesn't suspect anything. And then I find the folder labeled New Life. It contains bank statements for accounts I didn't know existed. Sarah's been moving money, our money, into accounts with only her name on them. She's been selling things. Her grandmother's jewelry, the antique furniture we inherited from my parents, even the tools for my workshop that she somehow got appraised and sold online. The total is $47,000. $47,000, moved and liquidated without my knowledge. But the worst part is the legal documents. David Chen has prepared divorce papers that paint me as an abusive, alcoholic husband who's been stealing from joint accounts to support a gambling addiction. There are affidavits from witnesses who claim to have seen me drunk and violent. There are photos of bruises on Sarah's arms that I know I never caused. They're not just planning to leave me. They're planning to destroy me and take everything I have. I photograph everything with my phone, upload it all to a cloud storage account, and email copies to myself at 3 different addresses. Then I put everything back exactly as I found it and let myself out through the back door. I'm sitting in my truck, hands shaking with rage, when my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. The cold has revealed all, hasn't it, Danny? Time to call me. V. I stare at the message for a long time. Then I dial the number on the business card. Victoria Volkov answers on the first ring. Hello, Danny. Ready to stop being the sufferer? Victoria Volkov wants to meet at a diner called Mel's Place on Route 9, 20 minutes outside Edgewood. It's the kind of place truckers stop for coffee at 3 a.m., with fluorescent lights that make everyone look dead and coffee that could strip paint. Not exactly what I expected from someone who travels in a convoy of luxury cars. I arrive first and choose a booth in the back corner where I can see the door and the parking lot. Old habit from my construction days. Always know your exits and watch for trouble. Tonight, trouble might be wearing an expensive coat and driving a BMW. Victoria arrives alone, driving a modest Honda Civic, the same beat-up car she was sitting beside when I found her in the snow. She's transformed since Christmas Eve. Designer jeans, cashmere sweater, leather boots that probably cost more than I make in a week. But her eyes are the same, sharp, calculating, missing nothing. She slides into the booth across from me and signals the waitress for coffee. Thank you for coming, Danny. Thank you for the warning about Sarah. How did you know I'd found something? Because I've been watching your house since Christmas morning. I saw David Chen arrive with his briefcase and leave without it. I saw you break in later that night, and I saw your face when you came out. The waitress brings coffee and disappears. Victoria adds cream and sugar like we're discussing the weather instead of surveillance and marital espionage. Why are you watching my house? Because your wife and her friends have something that belongs to my family, and because you're the key to getting it back. I don't understand. Victoria pulls out a tablet and shows me a photograph. It's Marcus Blackwood, but not the artsy photos from his website. This one shows him in an expensive suit, shaking hands with an older man in what looks like a warehouse. Marcus Blackwood isn't just an artist, Danny. He's a money launderer. He takes dirty cash, runs it through art sales and gallery transactions, and produces clean money on the other side. Very lucrative business. She swipes to another photo. Marcus and the same older man, this time with several other people I don't recognize. They're standing in front of shipping containers. 6 months ago, Marcus laundered $2 million for a group that was smuggling stolen electronics through the port of Boston. The problem is, he kept a 20% commission that he wasn't authorized to take, $400,000. What does this have to do with Sarah? Your wife is his exit strategy. Marcus needs to disappear for a while, let things cool down. He's been planning to leave Boston, start over somewhere else, and he needs clean money to do it, money that can't be traced back to his previous activities. Victoria shows me another photo. Sarah and Marcus at a bank standing at a teller window. He's been using Sarah to legitimize his stolen funds. The money she's been moving into those private accounts, it's not just your marital assets, it's Marcus's laundered cash, mixed in with your legitimate money to make it look clean. My stomach drops. Are you saying Sarah's involved in money laundering? I'm saying Sarah thinks she's in love with an artist who's going to take her away from her boring life. She has no idea she's helping a criminal steal from very dangerous people. Victoria leans forward. The people Marcus stole from? They hired my family to get their money back. We've been tracking Marcus for 3 months, and we finally found him here, in Edgewood, playing house with your wife. So why don't you just take the money and arrest Marcus? Because it's not that simple. Marcus has been smart. He's spread the money across multiple accounts, mixed it with legitimate funds, created a paper trail that makes it look like normal business transactions. If we just grab him, we might recover half the stolen money. The rest would be tied up in legal proceedings for years. She shows me another document on her tablet. But if we can prove that Marcus defrauded your wife, convinced her to move money under false pretenses, then we can freeze all the accounts and recover everything, your money and theirs. What do you need from me? I need you to play along with their plan. Let them think they're getting away with it. Give me time to document everything and build a case that will put Marcus in prison and get everyone's money back. And what do I get out of this? Victoria smiles, for the first time since I've met her. It's not a warm smile. Revenge, Danny. Complete, total, devastating revenge. When I'm done, Marcus will be in federal prison. Sarah will be facing charges for money laundering, and everyone in this town will know exactly what kind of people they really are. She slides a contract across the table. I'll also pay you $50,000 for your cooperation, and I'll make sure you get every penny of your marital assets back, plus damages. I read through the contract. It's surprisingly straightforward. I agree to cooperate with Victoria's investigation, provide access to Sarah's activities, and testify if necessary. In exchange, Victoria pays me $50,000 and uses her family's legal resources to ensure I'm protected throughout the process. How do I know I can trust you? You don't. But Danny, look at your alternatives. You can hire a divorce lawyer and fight Sarah in court, where she'll use David Chen's fabricated evidence to paint you as an abusive drunk. You'll lose your house, your reputation, and probably end up owing her alimony. Or you can work with me and watch your enemies destroy themselves. She's right. I've seen enough divorce cases in this town to know how they usually go. The wife gets a good lawyer, the husband gets screwed, and everyone moves on except the guy who's left with nothing. What exactly would I have to do? Pretend you don't know anything. Let Sarah think her plan is working. When she serves you with divorce papers, act surprised and hurt. Don't fight too hard. Make it look like you're overwhelmed and don't understand what's happening. For how long? 2 weeks, maybe 3, just long enough for Marcus to feel safe and make a mistake. These guys always make mistakes when they think they've won. I sign the contract. Victoria shakes my hand. Her grip is firm, businesslike. Welcome to the team, Danny. This is going to be fun. Over the next week, I become an actor in my own life. Sarah comes home on December 28th, acting like nothing happened. She says she's been thinking things over and maybe we can work things out if I'm willing to make some changes. The changes, it turns out, involve me agreeing to see a marriage counselor, who happens to be a friend of Jessica's, attending anger management classes for anger issues I don't have, and giving Sarah space to heal from my alleged emotional misuse. I play along. I apologize for things I didn't do. I agree to sleep in the guest room. I promise to try harder, be better, deserve her love. It's the hardest acting job of my life. Meanwhile, Victoria's people are everywhere. They've tapped Sarah's phone, they're monitoring Marcus's bank accounts, and they're building a file on David Chen's law practice that apparently includes several other questionable transactions. Trevor thinks I've lost my mind. You're working with the Russian mob, he says over beers at the Blue Lantern. Do you understand how insane that sounds? They're not the mob. They're a legitimate business family with some questionable connections. Danny, listen to yourself. You sound like a guy who's about to end up in the bottom of a lake. The only people who are going to end up at the bottom of anything are Sarah and her boyfriend. Trevor shakes his head. I've known you for 15 years, and I've never seen you like this. You're angry all the time. You're plotting revenge. You're making deals with criminals. This isn't you. Maybe this is who I need to be. Or maybe you should just divorce Sarah, take your lumps, and start over somewhere else. With what? She's stolen everything I have, Trevor. My money, my house, my reputation. If I walk away now, I lose everything and she wins. So what? You'll make more money. You'll buy another house. Your reputation will recover, but if you go down this road with Victoria Volkov, you might not survive it. I finish my beer and stand up. I'm already not surviving it, Trevor. At least this way, I'm fighting back. On January 3rd, Sarah serves me with divorce papers. She does it at breakfast, sliding the manila envelope across the kitchen table while I'm eating cereal and reading the sports page. Her performance is Oscar-worthy. Tears in her eyes, trembling voice, claims that she never wanted it to come to this. I can't do this anymore, Danny. I can't live with someone who scares me. Scares you, Sarah? I've never laid a hand on you. It's not just physical. It's the drinking, the anger, the way you look at me sometimes. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells in my own home. The drinking she's referring to is the occasional beer after work. The anger is my reaction to her obvious affair. And the way I look at her is probably because I know she's planning to destroy my life. But I play my part. I act shocked, hurt, confused. I beg her to reconsider. I promise to change, to get help, to be the husband she deserves. It's too late, she says, crying crocodile tears. I've already talked to a lawyer. The papers explain everything. I read through David Chen's masterpiece of legal fiction. According to the divorce petition, I'm an alcoholic who's been verbally and emotionally abusive for years. I've been stealing money from our joint accounts to support a gambling addiction. I've threatened Sarah multiple times, and she fears for her safety. The petition requests immediate temporary support, exclusive use of the marital home, and a restraining order that would prevent me from coming within 500 feet of Sarah or her workplace. It's a complete fabrication, but it's written by a skilled lawyer and supported by affidavits from Jessica and two of Sarah's friends who claim to have witnessed my abusive behavior. This is all lies, Sarah. You know I'm not like this. I know you think you're a good person, Danny, but you don't see yourself the way others see you. Maybe some time apart will help you understand what you need to change. That afternoon, I meet with the lawyer Victoria recommended, Patricia Monroe, a sharp-dressed woman in her 50s who specializes in defending men in divorce cases. Her office is in Hartford, an hour's drive from Edgewood, and her fees are way more than I can afford. Fortunately, Victoria is paying. Patricia reads through Sarah's petition with the expression of someone who's seen this playbook before. It's a standard scorched earth divorce strategy, she says. Paint the husband as dangerous and unstable, get him kicked out of his own home, then negotiate from a position of strength. The problem is it often works. Can we fight it? We can try. But Danny, you need to understand something. In family court, the burden of proof is lower than in criminal court. Sarah doesn't have to prove you're abusive beyond a reasonable doubt. She just has to convince a judge that it's more likely than not. Patricia shows me a stack of similar cases. Restraining orders are handed out like parking tickets these days. Judges figure it's better to err on the side of caution, even if it means punishing innocent men. So what do? We play defense for now. We'll file a response denying all allegations, but we won't be too aggressive. We don't want to look like we're intimidating Sarah or proving her point about your anger issues. How long will this take? In Connecticut, there's a mandatory waiting period of 90 days before a divorce can be finalized. But with allegations of misuse, temporary orders can be issued immediately. You could be out of your house by next week. I leave Patricia's office feeling like I'm drowning. Even with Victoria's help, even with evidence of Sarah's affair and money laundering, the legal system is designed to assume the worst about men in divorce cases. That night, I call Victoria from my motel room. How much longer do we have to wait? Soon, Danny. Marcus is getting nervous. He's been moving money again, trying to consolidate everything before he disappears. We're tracking every transaction. Sarah got a temporary restraining order. I have to be out of the house by Friday. I know, I'm sorry, but this actually helps us. It makes Sarah feel more confident, more likely to make mistakes. It doesn't feel like it's helping me. Danny, I understand this is difficult, but in 2 weeks, maybe 3, this will all be over. Sarah and Marcus will be in handcuffs and you'll have your life back. What if something goes wrong? What if they get away? Victoria's voice turns cold. They won't get away, Danny. My family doesn't accept failure, and we always collect what we're owed. I hang up and stare at the ceiling of my motel room, wondering if I've made a deal with the devil or if the devil was already living in my house, wearing my wife's face. By January 10th, I'm officially homeless again. The restraining order went through exactly as Patricia predicted, and I'm back at the Sleepy Inn Motel, watching my life fall apart in real time. Sarah's moved Marcus into our house, my house, and they're not even trying to hide it anymore. The whole town knows. I can see it in the way people look at me at the grocery store, the way conversations stop when I walk into the Blue Lantern, the way some of my former clients have suddenly found other contractors for their spring projects. Sarah and Jessica have done a masterful job of controlling the narrative. According to them, I'm a dangerous drunk who threatened my wife and had to be removed from the home for everyone's safety. The fact that I'm living in a motel and looking like hell just confirms their story. Trevor's the only person who still treats me normally, but even he's starting to worry. You look like death, Danny, he says when I show up at his gym on Thursday morning. When's the last time you slept or ate a real meal? I'm fine. You're not fine. You're obsessed. This thing with Victoria Volkov is eating you alive. He's probably right. I've been spending 18 hours a day monitoring Sarah's activities, documenting her meetings with Marcus and David Chen, and coordinating with Victoria's surveillance team. I've lost 15 pounds, I'm surviving on coffee and energy drinks, and I haven't had a decent night's sleep in 2 weeks. But I'm also closer than ever to destroying the people who destroyed me. It's almost over, Trevor. Victoria says Marcus is getting ready to run. Once he does, we got them. And then what? You think Sarah's just going to apologize and take you back? You think this town is going to forget everything that's happened? I don't want Sarah back, and I don't care what this town thinks. Then what do you want? I want them to pay. Trevor shakes his head. That's not the Danny Walsh I grew up with. The Danny Walsh you grew up with got played for a fool by his wife and her criminal boyfriend. Maybe it's time for a new Danny Walsh. That afternoon, everything changes. I'm parked across the street from Marcus's studio, watching him load paintings into a rental truck, when my phone rings. It's Victoria. Danny, we have a problem. Marcus isn't running alone. What do you mean? Sarah's going with him. They're leaving tonight. My blood turns to ice. Tonight? My people intercepted a text message. Marcus told Sarah to pack light and meet him at the studio at 8 p.m. They're driving to Montreal, then flying to Amsterdam. They've got new identities, clean passports, and enough money to disappear forever. What about the investigation? What about building a case? The case doesn't matter if they're gone, Danny. Once they cross into Canada, it becomes an international incident. My family can't touch them. I look at my watch. 4:30 p.m., 3.5 hours. What do we do? We end this tonight. Are you ready? What does that mean? It means no more surveillance, no more waiting, no more playing defense. It means we confront them directly and get our money back. How? Leave that to me. Just be at the Blue Lantern at 7 p.m. And Danny, bring Trevor. We're going to need backup. I call Trevor immediately. He listens to my explanation without interrupting, then sighs heavily. This is a bad idea, Danny. It's the only idea we have left. What if Victoria's lying? What if this is all a setup? Then I'm screwed anyway. But if she's telling the truth and I do nothing, Sarah and Marcus disappear with everything I have. Fine. But we do this my way. No tools, no violence, nothing that gets us arrested or eliminated. Agreed. At 7 p.m., I meet Trevor and Victoria at the Blue Lantern. Mo takes one look at our faces and decides to close early, flipping the sign and locking the door behind the last customer. Victoria spreads a map of downtown Edgewood on the bar. Marcus's studio is here on Pine Street. There are two entrances, front door and a loading dock in the back. Sarah's supposed to meet him at 8 p.m. She marks locations with red X's. I've got people watching both entrances. When Sarah arrives, we move in. Move in how? Trevor asks. We walk through the front door and have a conversation. Marcus has stolen money from my clients. I'm here to collect it. Simple business transaction. And if he doesn't want to have a conversation, Victoria smiles, that cold smile I've come to know well. Then the conversation becomes less friendly. At 7:45, we drive to Pine Street in Trevor's truck. Victoria's BMW follows us, along with two other cars I don't recognize. The convoy parks in the alley behind Marcus's studio, and Victoria's people take positions around the building. Through the studio's large windows, I can see Marcus moving around inside, still packing. There are canvases stacked everywhere, boxes of supplies, and what looks like several suitcases near the door. At exactly 8 p.m., Sarah's car pulls up to the front of the studio. I watch my wife get out of the car, carrying a small suitcase and looking excited in a way I haven't seen in years. She's wearing the black dress from Christmas Eve, the one that was too fancy for our marriage. And she moves with the confidence of someone who thinks she's about to start a new life. Victoria nods to her people, and we move. The front door is unlocked. Victoria walks in first, followed by me and Trevor, followed by two large men in expensive suits who I assume are her security team. Marcus looks up from a box he's taping shut, sees us, and his face goes white. What the hell? Hello, Marcus, Victoria says calmly. We need to talk. Sarah spins around, sees me, and her expression goes from confusion to anger to fear in about 3 seconds. Danny, what are you doing here? You're violating the restraining order. Actually, he's not, Victoria says. The restraining order specifies that he can't come within 500 feet of you or your residence. This is neither. Victoria walks closer to Marcus, who's backing toward the loading dock. Marcus Blackwood, also known as Michael Barnes, also known as Martin Blake. You've been a busy man. I don't know what you're talking about. $400,000, Marcus. Stolen from the Kozlov shipping operation in Boston. Laundered through art sales and real estate transactions, hidden in bank accounts belonging to this man's wife. Sarah looks confused. What is she talking about, Marcus? She's talking about your boyfriend's other job, I say. The one where he steals money from criminals and uses naive small-town lawyers to help him hide it. That's ridiculous, Sarah says, but her voice is shaky. Marcus is an artist. Victoria pulls out her tablet and shows Sarah the surveillance photos. Your artist boyfriend is a money launderer, Mrs. Walsh, and you've been helping him steal from very dangerous people. Sarah looks at the photos, then at Marcus, then back at the photos. Marcus, tell them this isn't true. Marcus doesn't say anything. He's looking at Victoria's security team and calculating his odds of getting to the loading dock. The money, Marcus, Victoria says. All of it. The $400,000 you stole plus the marital assets you convinced Mrs. Walsh to move. Transfer it back to the original accounts and we can discuss this like civilized people. And if I don't, then we stop being civilized. Marcus laughs, but it sounds forced. You can't threaten me. This is America, not Russia. You're right, Victoria says. This is America. Which means when you steal money from my clients, I can't just have you shot. I have to be more creative. She nods to one of her security men, who pulls out a phone and shows Marcus the screen. That's a live feed from the FBI field office in Hartford. Special Agent Rebecca Torres is waiting for my call. When I call her, I'll explain that you've been using Mrs. Walsh to launder stolen money, that you've committed bank fraud and identity theft, and that you're planning to flee the country tonight with evidence of your crimes. Marcus's face goes even whiter. Agent Torres is very interested in money laundering cases, Marcus. They're great for her career. And she's been looking for an excuse to investigate some of the art galleries you've worked with. Victoria shows him another screen. That's a warrant for your arrest, already prepared and waiting for a judge's signature. I can have it signed and executed within an hour. This is insane, Sarah says. Marcus, tell them you're not a criminal. Marcus finally speaks, but he's talking to Victoria, not Sarah. What do you want? I want my client's money. I want Mrs. Walsh's money returned to the joint accounts where it belongs. And I want you to disappear from this town and never come back. And if I do that, then you get a head start before Agent Torres realizes she doesn't have a case anymore. Marcus looks around the studio, at Sarah, at the suitcases by the door, at the new life he was planning to start in Amsterdam. How long do I have? Transfer the money now, and you can be in Canada by midnight. Marcus pulls out his laptop and starts typing. Sarah watches him, and I can see the exact moment she realizes that everything she thought she knew about her future was a lie. Marcus, what are you doing? I'm transferring the money, Sarah. What money? I don't understand what's happening. I step forward. I'll explain it to you, Sarah. Your boyfriend stole $400,000 from criminals in Boston. He needed a way to hide the money. So he seduced you, convinced you to move our money into accounts he controlled, and mixed his stolen cash with our legitimate funds to make it all look clean. Sarah shakes her head. That's not true. Marcus loves me. Marcus loves your bank account access and your law degree. You were never going to Amsterdam, Sarah. You were going to be his accomplice until he got caught, and then you were going to be his fall guy. Marcus looks up from his laptop. Done. The money's transferred. Victoria checks her tablet. Confirmed. All accounts are back to their original status. She nods to her security team, who step aside to clear a path to the loading dock. You've got 30 minutes before I call Agent Torres and tell her you got away. Marcus grabs one small bag and heads for the door. He doesn't look at Sarah, doesn't say goodbye, doesn't even acknowledge that she exists. Marcus, wait! Sarah calls after him. What about us? What about our plans? Marcus stops at the door and turns around. For the first time tonight, he looks directly at her. Sarah, you're a small-town lawyer with mediocre looks and middle-class problems. You were useful for a few months, but I was never going to spend the rest of my life with you. The words hit Sarah like a physical blow. She staggers backward, and for a moment, I actually feel sorry for her. Then I remember the divorce papers, the fake misuse allegations, the way she threw me out of my own house on Christmas Eve. Marcus leaves. Victoria's people follow him to make sure he actually goes. And Sarah and I are left alone in the studio, surrounded by the wreckage of her fantasy. Danny, she says, and her voice is small and broken. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. You made a lot of mistakes, Sarah. Can we work this out? Can we try again? I look at my wife, my soon-to-be ex-wife, and feel nothing. No anger, no sadness, no love, no hate, just emptiness. No, Sarah, we can't. Victoria appears beside me. The money's been restored to your joint accounts, Danny. All of it, plus interest. And I've had a conversation with David Chen about his role in preparing fraudulent legal documents. He's decided to withdraw from representing your wife and focus on his other clients. What does that mean? It means Mrs. Walsh needs a new lawyer, and it means the restraining order was based on fabricated evidence, so it's no longer valid. Sarah looks back and forth between us. I don't understand. Who are you? I'm someone who doesn't like thieves, Victoria says, and I'm someone who keeps promises to friends. Victoria hands me an envelope. Your fee, as agreed, plus a bonus for your patience. I don't open it, but I can feel that it's thick. Thank you. Thank you, Danny. This was a successful recovery operation. Victoria and her people leave, and Sarah and I are alone. What happens now? Sarah asks. Now you go home and pack your things. The divorce will proceed, but without David Chen's lies and without the stolen money. You'll get whatever the law says you're entitled to, nothing more. Where will I go? That's not my problem anymore. I walk toward the door, then stop and turn around. Sarah, for what it's worth, I really did love you. For 8 years, I thought we were building something together. I thought we were a team. We could be again. No, we couldn't, because when things got difficult, when you got bored or restless or wanted something more, your solution was to lie, cheat, steal, and try to destroy me. That's not something you do to someone you love. I was confused. Marcus made me think, Marcus didn't make you do anything, Sarah. You chose to have an affair. You chose to steal our money. You chose to file false misuse allegations. You chose to try to destroy my reputation and my life. Those were your choices. I leave Sarah standing in the empty studio, surrounded by Marcus's abandoned art supplies and the remains of her dreams. Outside, Trevor's waiting by his truck. How do you feel? He asks. Tired, but satisfied? I think about it. Yeah, satisfied. We drive back to the Blue Lantern, where Mo is waiting with a bottle of good whiskey and 3 glasses. Heard you had an interesting evening, she says. You could say that. Mo pours the whiskey. To the truth. To the truth. We drink, and for the first time in months, I feel like I can breathe again. 3 weeks later, I'm back in my house. The divorce is proceeding, but on fair terms now that David Chen's fabricated evidence has been exposed. Sarah's staying with Jessica while she looks for her own place, and the restraining order has been dismissed. The town gossip has shifted dramatically. Word got out about Marcus's real identity. Mo made sure of that. And suddenly everyone remembers seeing signs that something wasn't right about him. Sarah's gone from being a sufferer of domestic misuse to being the woman who almost helped a criminal steal from the Russian mob. In a small town like Edgewood, that's the kind of story that follows you forever. I'm in my workshop, rebuilding the tool collection Sarah sold, when Trevor shows up with coffee and news. Thought you'd want to know. Marcus got arrested in Montreal. Victoria? Apparently. Turns out he had outstanding warrants in 3 states. Amazing how these things catch up with people. I accept the coffee gratefully. What about Sarah? Still looking for a new lawyer. Turns out David Chen's reputation is pretty much destroyed. Word is, he's facing ethics charges for the fake misuse allegations. Good. Trevor sits on my workbench. You know, I owe you an apology. For what? For thinking you were making a mistake with Victoria Volkov. Turns out working with dangerous people isn't always a bad idea, especially when you're fighting other dangerous people. Sarah wasn't dangerous. She was just selfish. Same thing in the end. That evening, I drive to the Blue Lantern for dinner. It's been my routine since moving back home. I'm not ready to cook for myself yet, and Mo makes the best burgers in town. The bar is busier than usual for a Wednesday night. I recognize most of the faces. Contractors, shop owners, people who work with their hands and don't have patience for pretension or BS. These are my people, and they've welcomed me back without questions or judgment. I'm halfway through my burger when Jessica walks in. Sarah's sister looks terrible. She's lost weight, her hair is unwashed, and she's wearing sweatpants and sneakers instead of her usual designer clothes. She scans the bar, sees me, and walks over. Danny, can we talk? We're talking. Privately. I gesture to the empty stool next to me. This is as private as it gets. Jessica sits down and orders a drink. Her hands are shaking. I want to apologize, she says. For what specifically? The fake misuse allegations? Encouraging Sarah to have an affair? Helping plan my financial ruin? You'll need to be more specific. For all of it. I was wrong about you, and I was wrong about what Sarah needed. Why the change of heart? Jessica stares into her drink. Because I introduced her to Marcus. I set down my burger. What? I met him at a gallery opening in Hartford 6 months ago. He was charming, sophisticated, everything I thought Sarah deserved. When he said he was interested in meeting her, I arranged it. You set up your sister's affair? I thought I was setting up her escape from a marriage that was holding her back. I thought you weren't good enough for her. And now? Now I know that Marcus used me to get to Sarah, and I helped him destroy both of your lives. Jessica pulls out her phone and shows me a text message from an unknown number. Thanks for the introduction to your sister. She was very useful. M. He sent this yesterday from Montreal before the police arrested him. I read the message again. It's cruel in its casual dismissal of both sisters. Jessica, I'm not going to lie and say I forgive you. What you did was malicious and destructive, and it almost ruined my life. I know. But I also know that Marcus manipulated you the same way he manipulated Sarah. He's a professional con man, and you were just another mark. Jessica starts crying. I've lost everything, Danny. My job found out about the fake affidavits I signed, and they fired me. My friends won't return my calls. Even Sarah blames me for introducing her to Marcus. What do you want from me? I don't know. Forgiveness, understanding, a chance to make things right? I finish my burger and signal Mo for the check. Jessica, you can't make this right. What's done is done. But you can learn from it. How? By accepting that your sister is an adult who makes her own choices. By admitting that your judgment isn't always right. And by understanding that a man's worth isn't measured by his bank account or his education level. I stand up and put money on the bar. And by leaving me alone, I don't want your apology, and I don't want your friendship. I just want you to stay out of my life. Jessica nods, still crying. I understand. I leave her at the bar and drive home to my empty house. The next morning, I get a call from Patricia Monroe, my lawyer. Danny, we need to talk. Sarah's made a settlement offer. What kind of offer? She's willing to accept a 50-50 split of all marital assets, no alimony, and she'll sign an agreement acknowledging that misuse allegations were false. What's the catch? No catch. She just wants the divorce finalized as quickly as possible. Why? Because she's been offered a job in California, some law firm in Los Angeles that specializes in entertainment law. She wants to start over somewhere. No one knows her story. I think about it. A 50-50 split is more than fair, considering Sarah tried to steal everything. And having her acknowledge that the misuse allegations were false would clear my name officially. Tell her I accept. Danny, are you sure? We could probably negotiate better terms. I'm sure, I just want this over. 2 weeks later, I signed the divorce papers in Patricia Monroe's office. Sarah's not there. She's already in California, starting her new job and her new life. The whole process takes 15 minutes. When it's over, Patricia shakes my hand. Congratulations, Danny. You're a free man. Thank you. Can I ask you something? Sure. How did you know about Marcus? How did you find out what he really was? I think about Victoria Volkov, about the mysterious woman sitting barefoot in the snow, about the 19 black BMWs and the business card, and with just a phone number. Lucky guess, I say. That night, I celebrate my divorce at the Blue Lantern with Trevor and Mo. We don't talk about Sarah or Marcus or any of it. We talk about Trevor's plans to expand his gym, about Mo's granddaughter who just got accepted to college, about my idea to start a small construction company, specializing in historic renovations. At closing time, Mo pours one last round. To new beginnings, she says. To new beginnings. We drink and I feel lighter than I have in months. I'm walking to my truck when a familiar black BMW pulls up beside me. The window rolls down and Victoria Volkov smiles at me. Hello, Danny. How are you enjoying your freedom? It's good. Thank you for everything. You're welcome. I told you this would be fun. What happened to Marcus? He's facing federal charges for money laundering, identity theft, and fraud. He'll probably spend the next 10 years in prison. And your clients got their money back? Every penny with interest. Victoria hands me another business card. This one has her full name and a legitimate business address. If you ever need anything, Danny, call me. You're a good man, and good men are rare in my business. What business is that exactly? Victoria smiles. Problem-solving, asset recovery. Justice for people who can't get it through conventional means. Sounds dangerous. Everything worthwhile is dangerous. The BMW drives away, leaving me standing in the empty parking lot with her business card in my hand. I drive home through the quiet streets of Edgewood, past the houses I've worked on, past the life I built and almost lost and somehow managed to save. My house looks different now. Smaller, maybe, but also more peaceful. It's just mine now. No secrets or lies or hidden agendas. Just a place where a man can live honestly and sleep peacefully. I park in the driveway and sit for a moment, looking at the windows I installed, the deck I built, the garden Sarah and I planted together 3 springs ago. Most of the plants died over the winter, but some of them will come back. That's how it works with perennials. They look dead, but they're just waiting for the right conditions to grow again. Inside, I pour myself a glass of whiskey and sit in my living room. The house is quiet except for the sound of the heater and the occasional car passing on the street. I think about Sarah starting over in Los Angeles with a new job and a new life. I hope she's learned something from all this. I hope she understands now that happiness isn't something you can steal from someone else, that love isn't something you can fake, and that the grass is rarely greener on the other side. I think about Marcus, sitting in a jail cell in Montreal, probably wondering how his perfect plan fell apart so quickly. I hope he has a long time to think about it. I think about Jessica, dealing with the consequences of her choices and learning that actions have consequences. And I think about Victoria Volkov, driving through the night in her black BMW, probably on her way to solve someone else's problems with the same ruthless efficiency she brought to mine. But mostly, I think about tomorrow, about the renovation project I'm starting next week, about the business I'm planning to build, about the life I'm going to create for myself. For the first time in months, I'm looking forward instead of backward. I finish my whiskey, turn off the lights, and go to bed in my own house, in my own room, with my own clear conscience. The cold revealed all, just like Victoria said it would. And what it revealed was that I'm stronger than I thought, smarter than my enemies believed, and capable of surviving anything life throws at me. Sarah thought she was trading up when she chose Marcus over me. Instead, she traded a man who loved her for a criminal who used her, traded a stable life for chaos and uncertainty, traded honesty for lies. Marcus thought he was smart enough to steal from dangerous people and get away with it. Instead, he underestimated both his sufferers and his accomplices. Jessica thought she knew what was best for everyone. Instead, she learned that meddling in other people's lives has consequences. And I learned that sometimes, when the system fails you and the people you trust betray you, you have to be willing to fight back with everything you have. I learned that revenge isn't always about hurting your enemies. Sometimes it's about making sure they face the consequences of their choices. I learned that justice isn't always delivered by judges and juries. Sometimes it's delivered by mysterious women in expensive cars who understand that some problems require unconventional solutions. Most importantly, I learned that I don't need Sarah's approval, Jessica's respect, or this town's sympathy to be happy. I just need to be true to myself and surround myself with people who value honesty and loyalty. The divorce is final. The money is restored and the truth is known. Sarah is gone. Marcus is in prison and I'm free. It's not the ending I expected when this all started, but it's the ending I earned. And it's enough.